Holy shit, H. Jones, get the fuck out of here.
We need to go now. The deep state is scraping our signals. They're eating the babies. No time to explain.
Go where? It's 4 a.m.
Antarctica.
What is this place?
Home.
I'll see you in Valhalla.
It's I'm in an uncomfortable position. Obviously, everyone's going to want me to talk about Charlie Kirk, but I will. Don't you worry, I will. The main thing, though, is that I'm going to keep it brief, as I usually do, because I'm not like a political commentator. So I'll just try to give a brief overview of what's happened, my thoughts on it, and that will be it. There will be a million political slop channels covering this 24/7 for at least a week before they completely forget about it. But yeah, everyone's pissed off. In case you don't know, today is the second day, not even a full 48 hours after the assassination of Charlie Kirk at the the Utah Valley campus in Utah. If you don't know who Charlie Kirk is, he is a hard to put a word on things these days, but he is vaguely conservative. Not vaguely, he's very conservative, but he's not like super far right in how you might perceive that. He is effectively a Christian fundamentalist and very pro MAGA. I guess that's the way to put it. So as a result, he's had very controversial opinions, particularly about Israel, which has not earned him a lot of favors on the far right. But what I did not know about him until after this happened is that Charlie Kirk, as co-founder of Turning Point USA, has had a profound impact on how many people in the United States, young people on campuses, were turned on to conservative politics at a young age. Because, as you know, on campuses, and with young people in particular, they usually lean left. And there's usually a peer pressure there to adhere to a specific viewpoint. So Charlie was very effective at getting into the campus and showing people who have nothing but one-sided peer pressure to think a certain way that actually there are options. And apparently he's reached millions of young people this way. And he's credited with getting a lot of young people to vote for Trump in 2024. So combined, on its face, he's a very unusual target for an assassination. Why would you kill the guy who's kind of lukewarm about a lot of stuff? He's not a radical. He doesn't have like extremist not Marxist, but monarchist philosophies. He's not like a I don't know. He's really not a Nazi. They call him a Nazi, but he's not. And the first thing I thought of is that if they're going to kill this guy, they're going to kill all of us. And I was confirmed. I had people tell me outright, yeah, we're going to kill you. We're going to kill all of you. If you think that Charlie Kirk is inoffensive or in any way moderate, yeah, you're definitely too far right. We're going to have to kill you, is what I was told by many people on Twitter over the last couple days. One in particular I'll highlight in a second. But so that seems to be the sentiment. That was my first takeaway. Is like, wow, if they're going to gun for Charlie Kirk, then they'll gun for us all. The one thing that I immediately suspected, and a lot of people who have a very low intelligence misread what I said. I said, oh, this is definitely an Israel thing. That was my word-for-word reaction to hearing that he had gotten shot. Many people who unfortunately were born with a one of their hemispheres of their brain completely missing, filled in with like a plastic mold of the other half of their brain to make it a complete brain that doesn't bounce around as they walk. Those people believe that I was talking about like a Mossad assassination. Charlie Kirk is very Zionist, very pro-Israel, as many fundamentalist Christians in the United States are. They see that protecting Israel is somehow a biblical duty, because there's some passage in the Bible about how converting Jews to Christianity is like one of the most important things. But so that's been construed by fundamentalists to be that we have to do whatever Israel says for whatever reason. So Charlie Kirk, when he got shot, my immediate thought was like, this is going to be a pro-Palestine thing. It could be, but it's much dumber than that, and I'll get to it in a second. But yeah, that was my initial reaction, is that he probably got shot over Palestine, probably by somebody who was like probably white, probably far left, probably radicalized online. And I was basically right as far as I'm concerned. I didn't think it would be like a transgender person, but there is some room for speculation on this. So let's just go with, I'm on the wrong thing. By the way, a little weird thing, I don't know. I want to call it serendipitous. If I say it aloud, it's going to sound really gay, but I'll just say it anyways. I'll take the L if I sound gay when I say this. Earlier this week, and I even made a post about it, I was extremely agonized over how poorly the site had been running recently. I was just so incensed with it. It was like an obsession. Like, I have to fix what's wrong with this site. So I really sat down, and over days, I spent full 8-hour plus work days sitting down, tinkering with configuration files, starting stuff, restarting stuff, installing stuff, uninstalling stuff. And eventually, literally the same hour that Charlie Kirk got shot, I figured it out. I figured out what the issue was. And the site just started working snappy. It's a little bit on and off right now because I still have to fine tune stuff, but the main issue, I discovered it and I fixed it. And then 10,000 people were on the site. And I felt that was very like weird, how I had like this internal like obsession, like I have to fix the site right now. And then as soon as it happened, there was something that people wanted to talk about. And as a result, one of the threads is like 500 pages long in less than 24 hours. It's one of the busiest days that we've ever had on the site. So Charlie Kirk was a year younger than me, and he obviously accomplished a lot more. So not everybody can be a martyr hero, but some of us have to keep the lights on. And so I felt that was very strange, very as I said, serendipitous. In case you're wondering, the issue was that I had allotted way too much memory to Nginx threads, and as a result, the constant connections and disconnections were causing memory allocations and unallocations that were enormous, and that was the actual issue. I thought because we had so much memory, I can just give the threads as much memory as they want, but the allocations and searches for memory space was the actual problem. So I just turned that all off, basically, and now I have to start turning stuff back on to get it running optimally again. Okay, so let's see. Let's start by I don't know. I can just show you the thread basically as an entry point. There's a thread, and I heard within minutes of it happening, everybody did, that Charlie Kirk got shot. The videos came out very clearly. He was shot in the neck. All the gun experts came out and were like, yep, that's a shot right to the carotid artery in the neck. That's probably fatal. And then there was a lot of waffling, like, oh, he's stable in the emergency room, because there were 3 hospitals within 3 miles. And within seconds of being shot, he was being loaded into an Escalade that was on the property. So there was some thought like, oh, God, did he get like such an immediate attention that he can get shot in the neck and survive? Then there's a lot of people talking about how he's already like talking to people, he's alive. And then no, the people that were pessimistic, the gun nuts who said, yeah, you're not gonna walk away from that one right there. They win. They get their prize money for being right. Well, I think a lot of people were hoping that he would survive, just because it would be something you could say is miraculous to get shot in the neck and survive like that. This thread, by the way, was disgusting, and one of the last things that it was posted. See how snappy the site is? God damn. Damn, that site nice. One of the last things that was posted in it was, let's see, it should be highlighted. I know this is site drama, so it's not too interesting related to the actual topic, but it was just loaded with people arguing over bullshit. So what I did, because I woke up, and in case you don't know, we have less than 24 active or moderators in total. About half of those moderators log in once a week at most, or at least. Of those moderators, 5 of them, including me, have the ability to moderate the red boards on the index page, including this. So you're talking about 500 pages of 20 posts per page, literally hundreds of reports. Let's actually crack that out. That's 10,000 posts in one thread in a single day, managed by 5 moderators. So I made a giant announcement. I said, look, I cannot possibly deal with this post volume. Do not derail the thread. There are 10,000 people reading this thread, trying to get information as it happens from whichever source it comes from. It's extremely important that as a collective, people take the responsibility to ignore bait, to not get into arguments, and just shut up. Unless you have something to say, shut the up. That's basically the directive. And, it's because remember, when you shit up a thread like this, you're not just shitting it up for the people you're arguing with. You're not just shitting it up for the people who are posting in it. You're shitting it up not just for me, because I want the thread to be a good thing that people can read. You're shitting it up for tens of thousands of people reading the thread. So please, just shut the up. And Hollywood Hulk Hogan, who is a master of baiting people into arguments, came in, and every single one of these names is a person who replied to Hollywood Hulk Hogan in this thread at least once. So I banned over 100 people, including Hollywood Hulk Hogan, for a week. And then one guy even sent me a ban appeal for his friend saying, like, look, I need you to unban this guy. So I banned him for a week too. So there's probably 100 to 200 people that I banned for an entire week for embarrassing me. And I expected when I did this, like, oh, people are going to complain for sure. And then what I've heard so far is that the board is completely and totally improved, because every retard that takes every bait post ever and shits up the thread endlessly is gone for a week. So you're welcome. My moderator instincts, my janitor, I'm like a ninja. Everyone thinks it's just a broom, but I got a katana in there. I'm like, pshink, and I can start hacking away with utter precision. It looks reckless. It looks like I'm just swinging away like crazy, but no, there's a method to my madness here. So that's what happened. I eventually just said this thread's unworkable. It's 500 pages, 10,000 posts, make a new one. So I made a new one. I signed it to this Amelia Troonhart person to do some work. He needs to update this, though, because this guy is not the thing. Hopefully he can edit that post. Next. This was supposed to be my introduction to Charlie Kirk, and I'll have something to say about him on like a more personal level towards the end. But this is how he presents himself. And there is some argument over this. I'll explain what the people were arguing about in the thread after this.
I go around universities and have challenging conversations, and because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
I've never seen someone do this.
Well, it's a growing trend because people like me are facing violence, assaults, the left. Yes, the campus Antifa. I've been stormed out of restaurants. I've been assaulted publicly, multiple death threats.
Okay, so what's your goal in all this?
There's more people that agree with me than some people would actually believe, and they come out of the woodwork when I do stuff like this. We record all of it so that we put on the internet so people can see these ideas collide. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens, because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity.
So that was always his thing, and that's what everybody has to say about him. That's on the right. They're like, wow, if this guy's going down, we're all going down. Because everybody that I know of has more radical opinions than this guy. He holds that we're about the same age, so he kind of holds that concept of Americanism that I do. Where I remember when I was a little kid, I remember thinking that it was the Westboro Baptist Church after 9/11. If you're too young to remember, there's a very, very small quote unquote church, but it's kind of like a scam. It's an entire family of attorneys that are vaguely Baptist. And what they do is they go to different towns and cities and funerals, and they make a big demonstration holding up signs that are very offensive. I'm on YouTube, so I can't repeat them, but I think most of you know what they say. Basically just ridiculing troops, saying people deserved it. so on and so forth. And they constantly ended up in legal battles that they would win and get cash settlements for. So that was it was like a business strategy hinged off offense. And I remember thinking when I was a little kid, I'm like, God, why do we allow these awful people to go around and do these terrible things and ruin funerals? And then I realized when I was young that allowing people to be nasty and to show nastiness like that is very persuasive for not liking them. Like when you hear people say things that are just stupid, you're like, oh, well, this is like offensive or whatever, or like inciting, but you're just stupid and I don't like what you have to say and I'm not going to like adhere to it. So there wasn't like a threat to it because it was just idiotic. Obviously things have changed now and certain things are more persuasive, but that was not because of the Westboro Baptist Church or their messaging. So Charlie Kirk and I had this idea, shared this American idea that if you just allow people to speak, then naturally discussion will settle and bring people to where it ought to be, to the best solution. And clearly that's no longer the case. That doesn't work anymore because on the internet, we get censored, we get crushed underfoot by giant tech companies. We get debanked. There's something I have to say, but I'll just skip to it right now. As you guys know, I sell very innocuous. I'll just show you what I sell. That has gotten me banned from Stripe and stuff. It's a little Kiwi. It says "Hold it together." The Kiwi Viking. Oh, very offensive, very scary. This has gotten me banned off so many payment processors. But then we go to. Here we go. I'll just move this aside. Here is Punk with a Camera. He's selling stickers, and people have already taken pictures showing that these stickers and posters are going up in university campuses of Charlie Kirk being shot in the neck, saying, protect your neck, debate this. There was one that says, I guess he lost the debate, or debate lost, or whatever. This is on Shopify, so he's not even self-hosting. He just has this on Shopify. They're hosting it for him. They're managing the software for him. And Shopify, of course, is monetized with Stripe. So while my T-shirts, because of my podcast and because of my forum that has nothing to do with this entity or this business, that's enough where I was booted off of WooCommerce's payment system, which was integrated with Stripe. Stripe banned me off of absolutely everything. Square banned me off. I was so thoroughly banned on Stripe, I couldn't monetize my Kick channel or Gumroad or anything like that, anything that went through Stripe, because I'm the Kiwi Farms guy. And this is what I actually sold. Meanwhile, this is perfectly fine. So it's very clear that this American ideal regarding speech and how if we just let people speak, they'll figure things out over time and make the right decision eventually. That doesn't work when you have a censorship apparatus that is crushing freedom of speech and then also crushing financial freedom, which is the underpinning for actually being able to do speech as a job. If you prevent people from making money off their newspaper or their website or their podcast, then they can't do that full time. If I couldn't make money running my site and running my podcast, and even it's difficult because people have to mail in checks or they have to use cryptocurrency, which many people have no inclination to figuring out whatsoever. If I couldn't make any money, I would have no choice. I would have to shut down and do a regular job, because if I ran the site and had a job at the same time, I would be fired for sure. So that doesn't work. And then if you do speak and you do make money and you are very effective at what you do, you just get shot. So that's how he presented himself. This is one of his last messages, I believe. He said, this is a quote from Charlie Kirk, if you're only listening. Assassination culture is spreading on the left. 48% of liberals say it would be at least somewhat justified to Elon Musk. 55% said the same about Donald Trump. In California, activists are naming ballot measures after Luigi Mangione. The left is being whipped into a violent frenzy. Any setback, whether losing an election or losing a court case, justifies a maximally violent response. This is the natural outgrowth of the left-wing protest culture, tolerating violence and mayhem for years on end. The cowardice of local prosecutors and school officials have turned the left into a ticking time bomb. Not only was this incredibly prescient, I'll remind you that while I had zero sympathy for the healthcare CEO that was assassinated by Luigi Mangione, Charlie Kirk has no hypocrisy there. He was against it from the very beginning. One of the few people on social media who condemned political violence in all its forms. So you can't even say that. Oh, what he said about Luigi Mangione? No, he was very consistent with that. As would fit into his Christian belief system. This was a quote, by the way, further proving what he has to say from Gavin Newsom very recently.
I'm sorry. I know some people's sensibilities. I respect and appreciate that. But right now, with all due respect, we're walking down a damn different path. We're fighting fire with fire, and we're going to punch these sons of bitches in the mouth. I'm sorry. I know.
So there we go. California governor, Democratic presidential hopeful, saying we're fighting fire with fire and we're going to punch these people in the mouth. What about the neck, good sir? By the way, if you were to look over at Reddit or Blue Sky, also known as gay Twitter, here's a little sampling of people responding to the news that Charlie Kirk had been shot. Izzy in the Water says, do Matt Walsh next. Okay, Koala says, okay, someone get Matt Walsh next. Do Matt Walsh next. Nice. Do Matt Walsh next. Matt Walsh next. Do Matt Walsh next. Now do Matt Walsh next. Chaya Raychick next. Trump, please. Trump next. Black fingers crossed emoji. Do Trump next. Charlie Kirk is dead. Yay. One less misogynist piece of shit on the planet. Do Trump next. Not sorry. Hashtag Charlie Kirk. Hashtag karma got Charlie Kirk. Trump next. Trump next. This is from Nurse Boobies, by the way, says Trump next. Trump next, please. Let's make sure we succeed this time. Oh my God, do Trump next. Hand over mouth laughing emoji. Charlie Kirk is dead and has been for a few hours. Trump next, please. Trump next, asking for many people that have a wish list. Eyes emoji. That's the best news. Do Trump next. Endless. Repetition of the same exact shit. Celebration. And by the way, people were just openly doing this under their regular accounts. Firefighters in Georgia, members of universities, just openly on their professional accounts saying, please, more political assassinations. Even, by the way, from the Lunduke Journal, he posted this. The DNA Lounge, which is a bar in San Francisco, has a San Francisco drink night special where these degenerate monsters are celebrating the of Charlie Kirk. The special neck shot is for sale for $14 each. The DNA Lounge is owned and ran by Jamie Zavinsky, the Netscape engineer who came up with the name Mozilla. So here we have them advertising the Danger Neck Shot, Corona and shot of tequila for $14 from the DNA Lounge, retweeted by JWZ, the owner from Netscape. Next, let's hear what our congressional representative Ilhan Omar has to say about this.
What I do know for sure is that, Charlie was someone who once said, guns save lives after a school shooting. Charlie was someone who was willing to debate and downplay the death of George Floyd in the hands of Minneapolis police.
I think he called him a scumbag.
Right, have no regard, downplay slavery and what Black people have gone through in this country by saying Juneteenth should never exist. And I think, there are a lot of people who are out there talking about him just wanting to have a civil debate.
Complete rewriting of history.
Yeah, there is nothing more effed up, than to completely pretend that his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence for the last decade or so. And
We just have to deport her. She would be the great first step for the denaturalization argument because she has lied on her immigration papers. And we have Supreme Court precedent that if you lie on your papers about anything, they have the right to denaturalize you. This was the guy that he was arguing. By the way, the whole thing about him, he does live streams where he argues with people to show he's not afraid of debate and that he wants to keep Discord open. So this was the guy that was talking to him as he got shot, that was arguing with him about how peaceful the left was.
And people have obviously pointed to the irony that I was the point that I was trying to make is how peaceful the left was right before he got shot. And that only makes sense if we stay peaceful. And as much as I disagree with Charlie Kirk, I'm on the record for how much I disagree with Charlie Kirk, but like, man, dude, he is still a human being. Have we forgotten that? Are we crazy? Like, and people have obviously pointed to the irony that the point that I was trying to make is how peaceful the left was.
Sorry, that looped. Yeah. So he was literally talking to him about how peaceful the left was. And Charlie Kirk literally had just said something about transgender shooters the moment that he was shot in the neck. So I guess he feels bad about that. I guess Charlie Kirk won that debate then. They're saying that he lost the debate because he got shot in the neck. He was trying to argue with this guy about the left being violent. And I think he proved his point. And then, of course, in case you're wondering, in case you got distracted about the left as a broad umbrella term, even on the right, there are some demographics, some sorts of people that are bad. Let's take a look here. Charlie Kirk just got shot in the neck, which means that these "Make America Great Again" hats are just completely unprotected on this table. Let's see what happens now.
Yeah. Grab me out. Hey, yo, grab me out. Let's go up, guys. Come on. Let's go up, guys. I don't know. Let's go. I have no idea. Let's go. Come on, guys. What are you doing? Get the fuck out. Let's go. Yeah. Grab me out.
So this guy, weird hair. I don't know what's up, why this tarantula hair is so in fashion, but he's like, free hats. And then he even hands a couple out. You know, there's a event happening. There's some chaos. So he's just like, this is what we do. This is what you got to do when there's some chaos. You got to take what you can get and got to distribute it, because distributing it to the people is empowering. Now, they have caught the guy. Before I go into the gunman, let me just say how much I personally despise Kash Patel. I have a segment that I usually start right after the YouTube segment ends, so I'll be holding off on that until after we switch over to Kick. But here we got Kash Patel, and he has. Oh, I should probably coach this before I play it. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Turning Point USA, Matt Walsh. They all gave eulogies, and they posted these to social media. And what they all had to say, very consistent. The number one defining feature of Charlie Kirk's personality, his career, his opinions, his politics, was all faith-based. He was a super Christian, a fundamentalist Christian. One of the things that a lot of people came out and said, look, you can't call this guy moderate. He said that if his 10-year-old daughter got, he would force her to carry the baby to full term and give birth to it. So he's like, you can't point at a guy like that and say that he's not an extreme radical. The thing is that opinion is very indicative not of far right people, is indicative of fundamentalist Christians, and that is what they say, and I have opinions about that. But that's not like a Nazi perspective. That is a fundamentalist Baptist type perspective. So they all made it very clear. He's a super Christian. Everything he did for God. He wants to be remembered first and foremost, not as a politician or as a conservative advocate or a campaigner or a debater or whatever. He wants to be first and foremost acknowledged as a Christian. So after all those eulogies, that unified voice from every single person who personally knew Charlie Kirk, we have the FBI director, Kash Patel, who, by the way, despite the fact that the shooting happened in broad daylight on a packed university campus with cameras in every single direction, it took them 2 days and 250 miles. The perp got 250 miles away before the FBI apprehended him. So Kash Patel did not do a very good job. And when he gave his statement in regard to Charlie Kirk, this is what he had to say.
Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Valhalla. Valhalla. A place nobody believes in. He might as well have said was it Sarangard or whatever, the place from Skyrim. This guy is a Hindu. He does not believe in an afterlife. He believes in reincarnation. He believes in karma and that we are perpetually kept pegged to the planet Earth in different forms until we achieve nirvana. He does not believe in any afterlife. Charlie Kirk, I guess being white, is more Odin aligned, I think because it's just like a meme. But the number one thing he has to say is, I'm a Christian. And Kash Patel says, I'll see you in Valhalla, the pagan, Nordic, Germanic afterlife. And it's just like, you piece of shit. And I know what it is. It's because he's a Hindu, and he doesn't even want to acknowledge an afterlife that people actually believe in, because that would somehow be offensive to Vishnu or something. The purple elephant man would be his karma score would go down. He would be further from enlightenment than ever before if he played along with these Dalits like Charlie Kirk. I despise this so much. I really just don't like him. Hopefully they get rid of him. Is this it now, Trump? Can we get rid of him? He sucks. Okay, just get rid of him. Get rid of him and get rid of that of Vivek Ramaswamy. Just get rid of them. They suck. Let's not debate this anymore. Just go away. So before I go into that, let me think. The gunman. Okay, let's go over to the new thread, and hopefully we have some pictures of this guy. This is not him. I wish this would update. So during the press conference, and this is his mugshot, I think. Yeah, that's him. So he is a white male, and he had left behind. There were some rumors that the shell casings from the assassination had messages inscribed on them, like the Luigi Mangione assassination did, and they were right. The New York Times, at the last second, right after this was actually confirmed, tried to backtrack it and said that the messages were unclear. Well, let me illuminate what they said. They said, "Oh, whoa, what's this?" Or as the FBI guy said, "Oh, a capital O, lowercase w, capital O, what's this?" I think one said Bella Ciao, which is an Italian song that is generally associated with the assassination of Benito Mussolini after World War II. And then I think there was other Antifa messages that were... Let me see if I can find a list really quick. Because all this happened right before the stream went live. So if I just search Bella Ciao... See if I can find something. Unfortunately, there's not a full listing of it. If you're in chat and you know one, oh, hey, fascist, catch, that was one. And then up, down, or upright, down, 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 which is very specifically a reference to hell divers. In the game, you can throw signals for your ship to attack the enemies in the game world. And if you do the code up, right, down, 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 I believe that is specifically the 50 or 500 kilogram bomb, which is a really big bomb that you can drop like every couple of minutes. And then Bella Ciao. And then I think this is not a joke. It says, if you read this, you're gay. No, that wasn't a joke. I remember people in chat were saying, I guess the FBI director is gay now, lol, because he wrote that. So, those are the messages. Now, in case you're wondering, those are all Discord memes. So he looks normal. He looks like a normal looking guy. And by all accounts, he was. Both of his parents were registered Republicans. His father was a police officer. I believe his mother worked with special needs people. And he apparently Tyler Robinson is like the John Smith name of the Mormon world. So he had a very common Mormon name. There's some speculation that he's a Mormon too. So he seems to come from like an extremely normal Utah family house. But he went online, he got into Discord, and now he's like a furry. I bet you when he came home from his courses or whatever, because he wasn't a student at the campus. He traveled to a different campus to assassinate Charlie Kirk. But he's definitely like a Discord gooner, if not a true and like becoming one. So that was the world that he was involved in. And to these people, not letting a sexual predator in a dress use a women's restroom where they have access to. For instance, by the way, they found after started getting access to women's restrooms, they're now putting cameras on changing stations so they can see babies get changed, which is like the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. So trying to stop that is fascism, and it's the equivalent of rounding up the Jews for the Holocaust or whatever. It's just like they have, when you're in that kind of bubble, and it is an impenetrable bubble. It's not like in the past where you had open, like small open platforms. Like sure, there were radical forums or whatever that had extremist, perspectives, but these forums were open to the public. Now you have these little shadowy corners that's just the most impenetrable bubble of all time, not observed by anybody except Tencent and the Chinese for AI purposes. And they're developing like psychosis in their bubbles. So that's what we're up against. There are people that think that, number one, that think that everyone that you reply to, or everyone even near Charlie Kirk, is a Nazi, and that all people like that deserve to die. There was another post that I would like to show you as an example of this. Sorry, I don't like to pull all my numbers from Zitter, but today's a very Zitter day. One of the things, I made a post about how if Charlie Kirk would be assassinated, we all would. And then I got a reply from this individual named Nisha, who lived in Illinois and identified as trans, with the pink triangle. The homosexuals or whatever, LGBTQIP plus members on Twitter will identify themselves with the pink triangle emoji. I'm not entirely sure what that triangle is supposed to represent in the Unicode, but that's what they use it for. And then the DPRK flag, the Cuban flag, and the CCP flag, which of course are all communist states. Nisha says, if they all truly think he was not a radical, they are deeply underestimating what we will do to them all. Yes, all, supporters included. Ideological enforcement was always our bread and butter, and we shall enforce. And then I found, just by using a quick search, Nisha saying, how am I defending him? Hell, I'm trans, so not only do I have beef with him, it's personal. I'm just saying that y'all are so quick to call people Russian or Chinese spies with no evidence. And then another one saying, my point is that there is nothing I can do to convince them I am a trans person, that I, a trans person, am not one. So I have nothing lost by proving them right. I remember when people in satire of what the right-wing people believe said that we're here, we're queer, and we're coming for your children, and how they reacted to it. Referring to, of course, the San Francisco gay male choir, where it's a bunch of people, many of whom were registered sex offenders, saying that we're coming for your children. And then they said, we're coming for your children to teach them empathy. So therefore, it's just a joke and not a veiled threat at all. But that's the general consensus, or many people who replied in with less provocative terms and profiles just said, yeah, for sure we are actually. As a matter of fact, we are coming for you. So, pushing the boundaries here of what I can get away with. What is this? Okay. I left a message on the forum, and I said, Friday, on my podcast, I am going to encourage everyone to buy firearms. If you would like to give suggestions for first-time gun buyers, please concisely reply to this post. Keep in mind different states, different budgets, and different situations. And then I asked them to specifically consider budgets and state laws. So this is on, and I'll get the page real quick. And I'll just put this on the screen. So I would like to encourage people, as I say. It's on page 114. Now you can just type in, let me make this smaller. You can just type in this URL, but as you can see, that's quite long. So if you want to get it as short as possible, just go to qforums.net or st post, and then the post number is this. So it's just kiwiforums.st/post/224-75345, and it will take you right to it. I received many, many high quality, informative posts in reply to this. You can get a quality handgun, such as a Glock 22 secondhand from a police officer, for as low as $200. So if you're interested in getting a gun, you should get one. In fact, if you are an American, you should own a gun. If you have a legal right to own a firearm, i.e. you've not been convicted of a violent crime, you've not been involuntarily committed to a psychiatric facility, if you're not mentally ill, if you're not a felon, you have no excuse. It doesn't matter what state you are. And even if they're trying to make you jump through hoops and make you buy like a smooth bore gun in Illinois, you have no excuse. You should get something. So the general recommendation of people is that you should have a long gun, a handgun, and that's CCW, and then also a shotgun. And you can get a Mossberg shotgun for like $200, and that is an extremely reputable brand. I mentioned the Glock 22 was highly suggested by people secondhand because it's a police issue gun that they frequently sell on exchange sites. And then as far as AR goes, the AR platform in the US is extraordinarily robust and comes in every price range. You can get an AR for a couple $100 all the way up to like a $6,000, $4,000 Daniel defense gun. So it all depends. The point is that if you work at Whataburger and you make $10 an hour, you can save up enough to buy 3 different guns in a month if you really want to. So there you go. Lots of informative posts on the forum in regards to firearms. By the way, I will once again shill the self-sufficiency board on the forum. It is one of the best boards on the site. Very high quality boosters there. And it needs more users. More good users. If you suck, don't post there. Anyways, that's your homework for today. I'm going to give you guys more homework at the end of October or early November, but you should all obtain firearms and learn how to shoot them. That's the other thing that you have to learn how to do. You have to learn how to shoot the gun as well. Otherwise, it doesn't help. In case you're wondering, the gun that the assassin used for Charlie Kirk was a Mauser 30-06, which is a very, very common hunting rifle. It is not like, he did not use like a scary combat style gun. He used a gun that Grandpa would use to take out an 8-point buck at 300 yards, basically. He's not using like a super like right-wing death squad weapon or whatever. He was using a very, very common hunting rifle. So that's it for Charlie Kirk. I got a little bit of comeuppance, by the way. This is circling back to Charlie Kirk a little bit. A tranny by the name of Gretchen Felker Martin. By the way, if you're going to choose your own name late in life and you're going to pick the name Gretchen Felker Martin, there's something seriously wrong with you. But Gretchen Felker Martin's response to on Blue Sky, of course, to the news that Charlie Kirk had been shot was, "Thoughts and prayers, you Nazi bitch. Hope the bullet's okay after touching Charlie Kirk." As it turns out, if the name Gretchen Felker Martin is familiar to you, you're probably one of the unfortunate souls still interested in the comic book universe. Because Gretchen, that very same day that Charlie Kirk had been shot, just had their comic book Red Hood published in stores. It had been pre-released, reviewed, and the retailers had just gotten their boxes of the comic book orders in the store ready to go and be sold. And Gretchen immediately made this comic. And pissed DC off. So they canceled the book, canceled all future seasons of it, and also fired Gretchen. And by the way, they also refunded the stores. So if a store bought like a box of these, they got their money back. I had somebody tell me in DMs that their comic book store had bought a box, and when the refund came in, they literally just took the books and threw them in the trash. So as a purveyor of bad comics now, I guess, I have acquired a copy of this, and it will be arriving to me shortly. Because the first thing I did when I heard the news is I called up a comic book store for the first time ever. I'm like, "You guys got that comic that they refunded you guys for?" And as it turns out, they did. They had one thing that was available to me, so because nobody else had bought it. So I got it, and I had to mail it to my P.O. box, so I'm going to go get the comic, and that'll be a Gumroad review. He warned me, by the way, that the prior episodes of this had been extremely insipid, so I'm not sure if it's a different writer or if there's like an editor that takes out like crazy stuff from the books before they go out, like a professional DC editor. But he said, just be aware that it's kind of bad and not very interested. So if it's not interesting, I won't do a Gumroad on it. But I had seen one thing. Apparently, the book starts off pretty strong and crazy shit. So look forward to that. Matt the Internet, DougEmery.com, matttheinternet.locals.com. And there's one more cancellation type thing, I guess, that I'll just play you. Well, this is not what I was hoping for. This old video. Oh, this Gunter Eagleman is a by the way. If you follow this guy on Twitter, unfollow him. He's a retard. He retweeted this old because he just cares about engagement slop. When people were getting fired from their job for tweeting about Charlie Kirk being shot and getting fired for it, he posted this fake clip and pretended that it was a leftist breaking down because they got fired from their job for tweeting about Charlie Kirk. This clip is about 2 years old and it's from Fish Tank. So again, always call out this loser as being, it's not his picture. He's Indian. He tweets for India and he lies to your face. This clip is funny. I've never played it on stream before, so I'm going to play it for you. This is a Fish Tank contestant from like 2 years ago having a mental breakdown. This has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. And if you see people retweeting this, make sure you point out that Gunter Eagleman is
Fired from my job. I was just 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 fired from my job. Now I have nothing but this. I have nothing but this website. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing anymore. Ah! 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 No!
Concerned men with cherry biocanadiable inti
Fuck!
cherry.
Fuck!
Concerned men where is cherry? Inclungent men where is cherry?
Oh my god.
fascinating chat. Here we have a nice comment in regards to, by the way, the multilateral threat to people like me. We have Sidharth on Zitter saying, I don't really think you can afford a home in that neighborhood, replying to a whitey, daring to... You can't get this. Do I have this? I don't have the video, but it's basically just a guy walking through a suburb in Texas saying like, wow, this suburb looks like India. I don't want my kids to grow up like they're in India. Sidharth's response is, I don't think you can afford a home in that neighborhood. Continue being racist. The day of reckoning is not far away. So Sidharth joining in on the Antifa front. Whitey will learn their place, and they will learn that this is an Indian country. So the day of reckoning is coming, which is why, again, I emphasize that every single person should own firearms for self-defense purposes. Legally, you should legally obtain them. You should, honestly, they try to make you jump through as many hoops as possible. You should become Sisyphean. You should learn to enjoy the hoops. Do you live in Washington, D.C.? Do you have to take a 16-hour gun course, including 2 hours of range training that costs $300+ to get your CCW for one handgun? That is your boulder. Roll it up the hill. Encourage other people to roll it up the hill. Saturate the police departments with applications to the point where they're over encumbered with them. And it forces the government either to become lazy and start rubber stamping these things through, or to change the law entirely because their police can't handle it. Embrace the challenges ahead of you. Don't just think like, oh, that's a lot of work. You should be like, oh, that's a lot of paperwork. I can force some government stooge to double check for me. You have to become a positive poly in your quest. You cannot simply resign yourself to defeat because, oh, brother, there's an obstacle in the way. Ho hum. I guess I'll just sit at home and wait to be shot in the back of the head like the cattle I am. Moo. Moo. Instead, seize the opportunity. I can burden the state apparatus with my presence in a legal way because they asked me to. They said, please, sir, please, you want the CCW? Please encumber me with a bunch of paperwork. I would love to handle all your paperwork. You should accept that challenge and meet them on that. By the way, speaking of Siddharth, the deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau, after Charlie Kirk was shot, and seeing the positive reaction from so many different campuses across this country, said this. In light of yesterday's horrific assassination of a leading political figure, I want to underscore that foreigners who glorify violence and hatred are not welcome visitors to our country. I have been disgusted to see on social media praising, rationalizing, or making light of the event, and have directed our consular officials to undertake appropriate action. Please feel free to bring such comments by foreigners to my attention so that the State Department can protect the American people. If you know somebody who's H-1B or whatever, some kind of not resident immigrant or illegal immigrant even in the United States, here for study, here for work, here just because they can, people who don't have citizenship, the State Department is asking you to report them to the State Department so that they can revoke their immigrant visas or simply deport them immediately if they're illegals. So there you go. I thought people might be interested in that. Now, Sneeds, who likes to do me a solid and give me some slappa to get nice and angry about, put together this for me. Right Angle News. This was the thing about the video. Indians have doxxed the man who recorded the video of the mass takeover of his street by Indians near Dallas, Texas, and are review bombing his business with accusations of foul smells and mixing drinks with their hands. So I think this is the actual video. Here we go. They're doing like a Hindu parade where they beat on drums and like occupy the streets so you can't drive down it. And then a lot of people from Canada replied to this video of this man from Dallas in shock, like, oh yeah, they've been doing that in Canada for years now. It's like, this is it. This is our lives. We're going to live in a third world shithole where it smells like curry. I have to remind you, if you don't live near them, you have no concept of how annoying it is to live near an Indian. I've lived near black people. The most annoying thing about them is they play music too loud in their car. Like you're trying to like sit and listen to music and focus on your work, and then you hear King Kong, King Kong, and it's just like the most annoying thing. But then they roll up in the driveway, they turn it off, and you're like, God damn it! And it's especially annoying when it happens at night. But that's the black people. Like 99% of the time, unless you're getting stabbed in the neck, that's your interaction with black people. With Indians, it's so much harder to explain. When I lived near a bunch of Indians, I couldn't open my window. I would be sitting there, and there'd be a house across the street, and they'd get out of their car and walk over to the door, open the door, walk through the door, close the door, and then 30 seconds later, I would be choking. I'd be denied fresh air by these people, and it's so much worse. Smelling their shit food is so much worse. I hate it, man. And then, oh my God, you add in music. You smell the curry, and you're hearing pup, the blue elephant man, pup. Our karma is so good, pup. I would snap. Heads would be rolling, chat. Heads would be rolling. The replies would say, are Indians finally gaining some sense of awareness, or is this irony lost in them in regards to the complaints about the coffee shop being that they're unhygienic? Reaper saying, Indians claiming a place has foul smells. Complaining about foul odors is diabolically ironic coming from Indians. The irony of Indians claiming something is unhygienic. They're accusing him of having the same food preparation practices they all have. Fascinating stuff. Many of the comments says, good sir, while I was there enjoying my very shitty coffee, which was not very good and was all overpriced, I happened to notice many cockroaches and rats scurrying across the floor. Like the most blatantly fake reviews possible. All coming in, all from guys named Singh. It's disgusting. We need like a Google reviews that's just like white people reviews. Moment of levity before I talk. The quartering has disappointed me again. He's one of the only people who's ever dared to mention the name Kiwi Farms on his big shows, which of course I appreciate, but I will call it like I see it regardless, chat. This video really pissed me off. So he's posted, according to the guy that has the Tech 9 avatar, he's like a proper Hambly A-log. Okay, this guy is on top of his shit. When I posted, he came right to me with all the clips and all the receipts. The video that I was upset about, you can't see the title card because it was embedded. It is a private jet and hand signals. So right after Charlie Kirk was shot, there was a conspiracy that a person who like touched his ear and scratched his head right before he got shot was actually a spotter signaling in conspiracy in concert with the sniper that now was the time to take the shot, which is just retarded. And I hate shit like that. But of course, Hambly saw this and he needs the views apparently. So he put out a slap of video on the Hambly channel about how the sniper was getting hand signals by the spotter standing next to Charlie Kirk, which I think is disgusting. And you know what? It causes people are lunatics and they're really pissed off. If that guy was like a known member of Turning Point USA, I don't know who he is, but let's just say that he was. And, you know, people know who he is, that puts his life in danger because you've just told all these people who believe in paranoid schizophrenic delusions about hand signals that he's like a liberal communist operator working in the shadows to assassinate Charlie Kirk, who just died. It's a really, really stupid thing to do. So, and of course, he didn't notice it himself. He just stole it from QAnon boomers on Twitter. And I just thought it was like disgusting. And then this guy, the Tech9 guy, that's an A-log, he said that Hambly has posted like 20 different things about it. A video about the shooter being caught overnight because it's doing numbers. So he made a video that got 250,000 views. So it was a successful video, but he got it wrong. You can see in the title, Charlie Kirk's assassin caught. He was not caught at the time. He lied. They had taken into custody two different people. One of them was like a Muslim. One of them was a boomer that had put up a stand that said Charlie. He had like written a sign immediately after Charlie Kirk got shot that said Charlie Kirk deserved it. This is what I heard. I don't know if this is true, but the reason why they took him into custody is that he held up a sign that said Charlie Kirk deserved it. Changed my mind or something. So they immediately assumed that he was in on it and they arrested him for it. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I was told. But he put out a big slappa about how, it's a Mac 10. Sorry. I did not mean to make, to get the gun people are going to eat me alive now. I did not mean to call this beautiful Mac 10 a Tech 9. Sorry. So I don't know. The Nebraska guy got arrested for that. Okay. So as you can see, even when you're locked in, paying attention to this shit as hard as you possibly can, there's all sorts of little rumors, all sorts of little factoids. I got something really wrong about how they had positively identified the Muslim guy, took him into custody, and then let him go. I misread that as he passed some sort of preliminary interrogation and walked, and they had to find him again. So, like, I did it too. I got shit wrong, but there was no financial gain for it. But so you have to be really careful about what you say when shit's like this and things are really hot. I missed a tweet that captures it best. I'm happy to attend the next Turning Point USA event. Milo Yiannopoulos has volunteered as human shield. I'm not good at debate, but I'll get out there and try. And this was at 7 p.m. So this was after he got. That's really tasteless. I gotta be real. That's pretty tasteless. And then what was the thing that he made a tweet that got Sam Hyde pissed at him? I saw that, but I don't remember what it was. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I'll talk about that in a second. I remember that tweet. I might just have to go to Sam Hyde's thing and try to find it. X.com, Wigger. See, I think he's been tweeting nothing but the N-word for like 3 days straight, so I might have to scroll a little bit to find it. Oh, Sam Hyde's been promoting Nick Fuentes as a solution to all this. Okay, cool. Nick Fuentes, who campaigned for Kamala Harris, by the way. It's from Wigger to... Does anyone in the chat have it? What is the thing? It pissed him off. What's remarkable about it is that Sam, like, retweeting him, gained like 150,000 likes or whatever, just calling him stupid. Now I can't find him. How did this not get put into the thread is my question. Oh God. Okay, thank you. I see it in chat. Okay, there we go. Okay. Bring this up. Sorry about that. Okay, said, you're my boy, but I respectfully disagree. Everybody needs to... Oh, because Quartering said don't watch the video. Sam Hyde said, everyone needs to watch... About the Ukrainian woman being stabbed in the throat. Quartering said, oh, no, the video of... God, I'm such a retard. The video of Charlie Kirk being shot. He said, don't watch it. I'm begging you, pray for his family instead. He said, you're my boy, but I respectfully disagree. Everybody needs to watch this because it could have been you. It could have been me. It could have been any of us exercising the First Amendment. You all need to know what our enemy want. They want this for all of us. They want our children growing up with dead fathers and raped mothers. All the snark and word games, moral posturing, and linguistic bigotry. This is what it lies behind it, bloodlust, which I agree with. Now, of course, he left off a paragraph where he explains that only Nick Fuentes can fix this. So I don't know why he left off that ad. That's it. Hamley, I don't know. I guess he is properly like in a death spiral, which sucks. I'm very thankful that he needs to change it up, and he needs to do what he enjoys doing is what he needs to do. I'm not a super successful businessman, so maybe I'm retarded, but I'm very thankful that if I ever get bored with my formula, I can just change it up a bit, and people always seem to react pretty well to that. Sometimes I do. I just get bored, and I'm like, I need to do things differently than how I've been doing it before. And people like genuineness. They don't like people chasing metrics on YouTube. You know what I mean? They don't like people trying to clean up their SEO. That shit's not interesting. People are very picky about their entertainment and they cannot feign interest in Aniza Jamha, both as an entertainer and as a subject of if it's not interesting or attractive to them. People are very discriminatory in those ways, and they're in the right to be, but people aren't watching your shit. You can't just bait them with fake things. They're going to resent you for it. So, I don't know, bro. I might want to fix the issue at its source. Let's start where we are at right now. So, a while ago, there was actually a politically motivated attack on Brett Kavanaugh, who is a Supreme Court Justice for the United States, obviously. And he survived the plot against him. However, the person who had been plotting against him also had several other targets in mind. That were two other justices that were conservatives on the bench. And he was living as a transgender before his assassination, but now he has formally changed his name and is asking to be put into women's prisons and so on. So just so you know, this is not a recent thing. This is not a recent uptick. They've been trying to assassinate conservatives in every branch of the government for a while now, a good while. Next, this is updates on the Charlie Kirk situation. This is indirect, but this is kind of adjacent to it. The FTC. Now, I have to figure out, if you are like a person who's plugged into politics, I know there are some people who listen who are familiar with the DC. They drive on that godforsaken expressway that's like a belt. I think it's called a beltway even. It's the beltway around DC. They drive on that horrific road in and out of DC every day. If you're one of those people and you know a good way to keep tabs on the Federal Register, get into touch. You can even email me at my fancy nonprofit email address, moon@usips.org, moon@usips.org. And tell me how I can subscribe for specific updates to the Federal Register, because I only hear about these things in the last month of their accepting comments, and that's not good enough. I want to know as soon as they hit the ground so I can be the first to break it. DC traffic is horrific. It is simply horrific. There's that one road in particular that you drive through. I have driven past the Pentagon. I didn't even realize it until I was outside the Pentagon, but that specific beltway that goes through Arlington, past the Pentagon, and there's like a little tram that goes all the way up to Dulles Airport. That road is awful. just a nightmare to drive through. And it has a speed limit of like 35, but I've never seen anyone go less than 60 on it unless there's like bumper to bumper. So I don't know what's going on there. Anyways, so the Federal Register, which I don't have a way to subscribe to updates for, and if you have a way to do that, let me know, has asked for comments for FTC regulations concerning the doctors who are prescribing medicine for gender-affirming care to youths. So this is very specifically, keep in mind the full context of what they're asking for here. The Federal Trade Commission is asking for comments in regards to how doctors and hospitals are selling medicine and surgery specifically targeting people under the age of 18. And that means that they're looking at very specifically how these hospitals and doctors have been advertising puberty blockers, sexual reassignment, hormones, anything that could be classified as GAC, GAC, gender anything that can be described as that, which would be any kind of hormone or any kind of surgery, invasive or otherwise, any kind of therapy for gender affirming care. Basically any woke shit. Anything under that umbrella targeted towards minors, and very specifically under the purview of the Federal Trade Commission, which is not a parent organization of the USDA or FDA, advertising that they've used that is false, basically. So if they were using words like safe and effective and reversible, things like that, terminology that could be described as advertising, and it persuaded somebody under the age of 18 to take up gender affirming care. That is the story specifically that the FTC is looking for comment on. And if you have a story that meets that very small purview, go ahead and submit a comment. The comment for this is under, what is it? FTC 2025-0264-0001. That's FTC 2025-0264-0001. You can read specifically what they're looking for by reading the request for comment, and you can see that this has already received 5.8 thousand comments, which is actually a lot for the Federal Register. Whenever these things go viral, I think they get overwhelmed by the number of comments they receive. And keep in mind, a lot of these comments are going to be supportive because you have all these bullshit nonprofits out there, and what they do is they collect comments on behalf of their members and submit that forward, saying that that it is safe and effective. So don't think that this is 5.8 comments for the good guys or whatever. This could all be huge, tens of thousands of comments from massive organizations. And Hardin told me actually that if you are any kind of union or trade organization leader in DC, you can get a pretty penny just submitting comments under your organization's name in opposition to motions like this that are requests for comment like this that have absolutely nothing to do with your thing. Like when I was looking at the OCC's request for comment in regards to payment processors, there were comments submitted on behalf of like the Beverage Association of America, like the head, like the one random council member of the Beverage Association of America representing Pepsi and Coke was submitting shit like how the OCC should not accept, not require payment processors to accept everybody as customers. And it's just like, so don't think that it's very specific. They bomb these organizations with fear mongering, and they get paid to do it, basically. So that's something that you can do if it's relevant to you. And I know a lot of people listen, many of whom have been affected or know people in their lives who have been affected. These things do not happen in a bubble. It's not just people in California. I was at a gas station very recently, middle of nowhere gas station. And I walked in, I really had to pee. So I had to ask, because it was a gas station that didn't have public restrooms. I had to ask, can I use the bathroom? And the guy behind the counter looked like Styx Hexenhammer wearing a black choker. And on the employee work area, there were like these little Post-it notes hung up by tape. And they were all like cutesy uwu, like colorful rainbow glitter font with like little semicolon 3 faces on them. And it's just like, this shit is everywhere. It has impacted everybody, everywhere, in every state. And it doesn't matter if you're in a gas station in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, or if you're in California, you're going to know people. So Its impact, it's hurt middle America. Salt of the earth, hardworking Americans, people that you traditionally think to be insulated from the consequences of liberal policy. Thanks to the horrors of the internet, everybody gets to malinger under prediction and the false promises of the false gods, chat. All right, next. Post by our president, Donald John Trump, has said, I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots. That's me, chat. He's speaking literally directly to me. Many of our USA patriots that I am designating Antifa, a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster, as a major terrorist organization. I will be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So Antifa, the anti-fascist organization, as they like to be called, which originated as a propaganda arm of the Communist Party of Germany in the 1930s, and then was made a state apparatus in Eastern Germany to enforce communist policy and party philosophy in East Germany, has been designated a terrorist organization. And supposedly, the Netherlands is following suit. The main victory here is that terrorist organizations are sanctioned by the United States, which means that if you are funding Antifa or organizations associated with Antifa, you can be prosecuted nightmarishly for that. So this cuts off money for those huge fake protests that surge up, like an Antifa protest. And I guess maybe ADF can go to jail for terrorism now because he's got Antifa tattoos on his skin. That would be a funny end to ADF. Updates on the Charlie stuff, and I think this will be most of the first hour for the YouTube stuff. So first of all, when the Charlie stuff just happened and there was chaos and pandemonium and everyone was trying to figure out what the happened, my understanding is that there was an old man, and one of the first things that came out in the aftermath of Charlie being shot, besides the footage of him being shot, was the footage of an old boomer man being arrested. And everyone thought that it was another white boomer killer. As it turns out, that was not the case. What had happened is, from what I remember, he had held up a sign saying, Charlie deserved it, changed my mind, or something meme like that, immediately after he was shot, which made them think that he was an accomplice. When they were interrogating him, he had to cop an confession because he realized that they were going through his phone as a result of a very comprehensive investigation to determine if he was related to the shooting. And so he simply told the sheriff's office that he had child on his device and that they would find it. So as it turns out, you can just arrest random liberal boomer men in a crowd and they will have child on their phone. So he is facing child charges. Oh, did he backtrack that and say that that's not happening? Yeah. Typically admitting that you have child on your phone is a regrettable thing to say to police. Unfortunately, you'll have a much harder time backtracking that than admitting it. So that's how it goes. Okay, this is the charging document for Tyler Robinson. Let's just read what he's being charged with. He's being charged in Utah in the 4th Circuit, or the 4th Judicial District Court of Utah County, state of Utah. So this is just state charges. Aggravated murder, count 1. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. With enhancements for political expression and an enhancement for committing a offense in the presence of his child, but it was actually specifically both of his children. Both of his children saw him get shot. Count 3, obstruction of justice, because he ran, basically. Count 4, obstruction of justice because he disposed of evidence. Count 5, tampering with a witness because he messaged his roommate, which I'll talk about in a second, telling him not to cooperate with police. Count 6, tampering with a witness, I believe for doing the same with either somebody in his Discord or his father. And then count 7, violent offense committed in the presence of a child, again, for it was his child, and also it was enhanced because of political expression. I believe that the death penalty is being sought in this case. I don't know if it's in this document, but that's what I've heard. So that's his charges. They're going for murder. Obviously, they caught him. They know about the roommate. I will talk about that now. But before I get there, Provo. For some reason, isn't Provo one of the places you can visit in Fallout New Vegas? Can you go all the way up from Vegas to Provo, Utah? The attorney representing Tyler in his case right now is a guy called Greg Skordas. If that name sounds familiar to you, it is because Greg Skordas was the attorney who represented Taylor Swift in a case between Russell Greer and Taylor Swift in Utah. And he also represented a little website called the Kiwi Farms in the case of Greer v. Moon. So he's only temporarily representing Tyler Robinson. He has not been he is court appointed until they get him a permanent assignment. Oh, I've also been notified that his roommate is a furry, but I will get to that. Actually, it's right here. Here we go. Here's our boy. So this is Tyler's roommate. There was some. There was right before they actually read what was on the casings. Several liberal media outlets attempted to discredit or redact information regarding to what was written on the bullet casings. To dispel any sense that this was a trans-related violent offense. There was also some rumors that his roommate was trans, which they also tried to get in front of and discredit. However, it's true. His roommate was his lover. They were gay males in a relationship, and his roommate was pursuing GAC, but had not properly transitioned yet. So he was in the journey of discovering his gender identity. And I can only imagine that Mr. Trump and Mr. Kirk and President Trump throwing all these roadblocks in the way of her beautiful journey just enraged the masculine protective side of Tyler Robinson. He thought something has to be done about these hecking fascists. So I believe that's his motivation here. What is this? These are Steam reviews. Okay, you are a beautiful, strong child molester. Someone put this on your comments. That's the most recent comment. So, look, he even has the boy kisser avatar. Okay, and he's getting called a child molester by people that know him. Okay, cool, funny. He tried to. Oh, he also was he advocating DIY? What a small world. Persona history. So his usernames on Steam were encouraging people trans DIY. Dude, it's unreal. The boyfriend of the guy that killed Charlie Kirk is somebody active on his subreddit that was one of the main antithesis of Drop Kiwi Farms, who are after us because we exposed the fact that they were sourcing and distributing to children hormones made from unregulated shithole countries like Ukraine, with the hollow foil boy lover boxes of HRT that you're supposed to inject into your body. What a small world. That's crazy. So he was active on that. That's just nuts, man. He was a fan of Jordan Peterson becoming a troon. I guess he decided that he couldn't clean his penis, so he just chop it off. He's a fan of Lane. Oh my god. I've been getting recommended treatments for schizophrenia, BPD, and a brain tumor recently by social media advertisements. Trans DIY. In regards to getting hip growth. Holy shit. Why does it matter to you if a teenager decides they are transgender and goes through with the transition? Because apparently they shoot people. And when the courts asked the father not to speak about it, presumably so the kid wasn't bullied, he ignored them. So therefore he deserves to lose his child. Okay. So point is that his boyfriend was trans. There's no question about it. That's just reality. Groomed by Lucas Roberts. Oh, should I? You know what? I'll just skip that ahead. I have that somewhere. Let's see. Oh, I do. Let's just skip ahead since someone mentioned them. Since someone talked about the Beast, I should read this Twitter message. Okay, Keffels 3 hours ago, just in time for my stream, says, on the advice of my psychiatrist, I am fully retired from live streaming and content creation. I'm still living in Ireland, have a local job, and am getting married to a woman, quote unquote, I love dearly before the year ends. My life is great, and it's because I'm prioritizing what matters. I may or may not post occasionally in the future, but I value my privacy and have no incentive to maintain any sort of social media presence. Just wanted to say I disappeared because I am focused on my life. So, Queen Kafals, after once upon a time having hundreds of thousands of fanatical worshipers who followed him on Twitch, gave him tons and tons of money just for giving the most pissy, shitty takes imaginable, then took up arms, a crusade, against what should be the easiest target in the entire world, which, if you don't remember, was because the Kiwi Farms took the defense of Stephen Bonnell Jr., the second, Destiny, and said that Destiny should not have been kicked off of Twitch because of this lunatic positions. Keffels got very mad at us. A heroic user wrote a post exposing the fact that Queen Kafals did fetish fart dom before becoming a Twitch streamer for children. Created a nice post about this, to which Keffels took even more offense, and using the entire collective of the nepotistic system that exists, took a swing at the Kiwi Farms. And the internet was injured. Cloudflare buckled. Liz Fong Jones got involved and brought down the wrath of a Google employee and all the crazy stuff that a Google employee has access to. Seriously damaged the health of the internet forever, and completely failed to deplatform permanently a defenseless message board with an annual income of less than $10,000 total. And now, after taking 100,000 Canadian dollars from the people that trusted him the most and spending it all on drugs, left Canada for a country with a more functional healthcare system, which is the Northern Ireland, and now leeches off the UK's healthcare system, supported by the taxpayers in Northern Ireland, so they can whine to their therapist about how they can't function when they read messages about them and how they have psychomotor. Enjoy your retirement, Queen Kafals. You've earned it, King. Back onto the news segment chat. Immediately after this drama with Charlie Kirk, in Utah even, there was a bomb threat that targeted a news reporting ban, I think even reporting about the Charlie Kirk incident. 2 undetonated explosives were found, and I believe 2, well, how many people? Is it just 2? Okay, it is. It's just 2. 2 local Utah residents with the traditional Utah names of Adib Nasia and Adil. So Adil and Adil were, just 2 regular, pissed off Utah people attempted to explode a news van, as Utahns do. And one was apprehended. I don't know if they've apprehended the other. This one obviously has been drowned out in the news cycle. Let me just search real quick. Utah news van bomber arrest. 2 men arrested. Okay, they got both of them now. Adib Nasir and Adil Justice Ahim Nasir, 31. So 58. It sounds like a father and a son were each arrested, but I don't know. They only have like 2 names. So they both got arrested, chat. Good to know. This is a guy called Chud Logic. I don't know who Chud Logic is. This was requested that I watch and respond to this chat, so I will watch and respond. I don't know what to expect. Chud Logic is mad at rightoids complaining about his jabs towards Charlie Kirk's death. Quote, people are on my back because I'm against destroying lives over liking jokes on social media. When Aaron Bushnell self-immolated, I made jokes about it and you guys laughed your heads off.
To start.
Why are we making fun?
because I'm sick of the right.
Why does a British person have any say in anything ever? You don't matter. If you live in England, you literally don't matter. There is no way for you to get your country back. There's no hope for you. I'm just letting you know right now, if you're in the UK, anywhere in the UK, you are completely and totally hopeless, and there is no resolution to your state of existence besides getting out of the UK. That's it. So your opinions don't matter. Your beliefs don't matter. Your hopes and dreams don't matter. You don't matter. You're British. You don't matter.
Moral police. I'm absolutely sick of your gay, unprincipled soying out. I'm absolutely sick of it, to be honest, and I don't care anymore. I'm about like 3 conservative complaints about this shit from just going ballistic. Honestly, it's doing my head in, man. I won't. I'm going to retain my cool and not do something which I think would be tasteless and tactless, and I don't want to go that far with it. But honestly, the people that have been on my back about having a take that you shouldn't call people and destroy their lives for liking a joke on social media, the people that have been complaining about the occasional irreverent jab here and there. It's so annoying, dude. It's like, if this was a black person that had died or something, or a trans person, you would be fully supportive of me saying whatever the fuck I wanted about it. If this was some lefty influencer. Dude, when that burnt himself to death because he was a schizo that thought it would save Palestine, I joked about that like crazy, and everyone was laughing their head off because it was funny. But now I can't say a single thing about their single irreverent comment of not even specified towards his death. What are you doing, John? Why are you saying that? It's so obnoxious, bro. Yeah, it was different. It was different in that you didn't care about it. You didn't give a fuck about this guy torturing himself to death. Other people did. Some lefties did. Some lefties were outraged, and it got posted onto YouTube drama subreddit, and they were outraged about the fact that I dared to make jokes about it. Because they cared about that issue and that cause. So it's not like everyone was cool with it. Some people weren't. And you didn't care about the fact that people were outraged about it because you thought that was... But now it's your golden goose, silver duck, whatever it is shit that you care about. All of a sudden, it's a problem. It's so transparent what's happening and anyone can see it.
Okay. There is no... Correct me if I'm wrong. There's no political assassination targeting Democrats or liberals or progressives or communists or whatever that I think people did huge victory laps of. I think that the one that gets touted a lot is there was in Minnesota, some guy went around and I think shot 4 state reps in like one day, something like that. I don't remember anyone grave dancing over that, to be quite honest with you. I could be wrong, but I don't remember that. The guy that's he killed himself, the that kill themselves, they kill themselves. So if someone makes fun of that, that's their fault. If you didn't want to get made fun of for killing yourself, don't kill yourself. Maybe that can be your motivation to live, knowing that people are going to make fun of you for killing yourself. You kill yourself. So that's my advice there. Don't kill yourself if you're afraid of getting made fun of for killing yourself. What was the other one? George Floyd, fentanyl overdose. Nobody cares. Yeah, I saw there was a tweet that got 61,000 likes that was someone posted like an AI picture of Charlie Kirk and it said Charlie Kirk's been sober from fentanyl for 7 days now. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. But to people, they thought it was hilarious. And it's like, but you don't understand. His toxicology report said that George Floyd had fentanyl in his system. That's why it's funny, because it's real. There's a grain of truth there. But to them, it's just funny because it's mean-spirited to call him a drug addict who died from fentanyl, and the bullet was just coincidental. They just don't get it. It's just being like ridiculing someone for getting murdered in front of their children is just the whole joke. So it's a bizarre point to make. It's a really stupid point to make. There's something I will agree with, and I'll get to that. I have a segment for it coming up. So obviously, with all of this heat coming down on the T community, the people of gender are having to reconcile their new position in life and are having to realize that, we have to be really careful about what we say because this is obviously a sensitive issue and people are dying. And, we have to be really careful about what we say and do because it could look bad on all of us, which is why Finster, one of my favorite pets of the last while, made this very considerate tweet where he says, "Ready to infiltrate women's spaces." Now, this was the day of Charlie Kirk getting shot, it's like something around there. So without missing a beat, Finster, famous Minecraft YouTuber turned transitioner because a Saudi homosexual paid him to do cross-dressing, decided this would be the appropriate time to post fetish material and talk about threatening women with a toy gun because he's Australian, he can't own a weapon, but he thought that'd be a great idea. He's since deleted this message, if not because I made fun of it, then because there were multiple replies that I got from people of gender with the toothpaste flags in their username saying, "God, I hate Finster. He's not even a real and he's making me look bad." So that's funny. That's funny. He's he is, sorry, I always say he's Australian for some reason because his accent sounds Australian, but he lives in England. I'm not even sure. In my head, he's an Australian that lives in England, but every time I say this, people get mad at me, and I can never remember. He just sounds Australian to me. I don't know what it is. Cock it, I can't. I'm not in the position to be able to cock the weapon at this moment. I might get something ejected in my face. I can no longer play with them because they have all been fired. If I have an ND on stream, it's the end of me. So I will perhaps immediately I will be reported to every agency possible, and I will lose access to them. So I can no longer, unless I buy one specifically for that purpose, it's not happening anymore. Next, Bethesda, with the good consideration you would expect from a major company, published this banger. Which is apparently a quote clip from its video game. So to entice you to play this piece of shit, they posted this.
Huh. Nice place. You don't care much about these fascists, do you?
I don't know what game this is. I don't know why this guy's talking to a cat about fascism. But this was posted a couple days after the Charlie Kirk thing. It was deemed insensitive because calling people fascist or Nazis or whatever is why people are getting killed now. And they have since deleted this message. They did not post any statement about it, so they just kind of hushed it up. Yet you can pet the cat, and yet you can talk about fascism to the cat. Onion person, I don't remember who this guy is. He's like some kind of troon that's like vaguely associated with The Onion, I think. Yeah, he's a serious journalism at The Onion. He's very popular on the left because he's and he talks about shit. He's fled to Blue Sky recently because he's been chased off of Twitter. He also posted this on Blue Sky, which apparently is just like where people who are progressive make death threats against the right. He says, "The right will continue to raise their fascistic ideology and lust for blood. The pendulum must swing back. It will happen. How do you sustain a society that makes it dangerous to be online or function in public? This cannot last." Great question. I've been asking that for the last, how long has it been, chat? 12 or so years. Me just kind of screaming into the void, it's supposed to be America. Why am I not able to make money? Why can't I have a job? Why is this like immediately life ruining? Why is it safe for these people to swat my family? So on and so forth. Oh, nobody gives a shit because I think wrong. Okay. Well, now you see what happens as a result of this. I'm almost guarantee you, by the way, that this person supported Drop Kiwi Farms when it happened. South Park. Now, this is a segment that I divided the Charlie stuff up into a couple segments. And this segment I called the cancellation aftermath. South Park was supposed to air an episode on Wednesday, and they did not. Which sounds like, because if you're familiar with South Park, you know that to stay relevant, they keep a very tight schedule. Episodes are made in about a week, I want to say, during the season. And oftentimes their episodes are getting final cut within minutes of going live. Like it gets really close to the broadcast time slot for the episode where they're putting these out on some days. Because something happens, and they're like, let's rewrite the entire episode and recut it and stay relevant. I'll remind you that the episode that was slated to air after 9/11 which was called Osama bin Laden's farty pants or something. It was something like extremely stupid, but the whole idea was, okay, you killed 3,000 people, but we're not going to take you seriously. And I remember very distinctly, for whatever reason, that the Osama bin Laden has farty pants episode that came after 9/11 was a Nostalgia Critic's favorite episode of South Park of all time, because it was like this like absurd, stupid levity that was immediately after 9/11 at a time when everyone was like scared and super dour about stuff. So that, I'm telling you that because as somebody who is a fan, tentatively, I was a fan, I guess. I haven't watched any of their new stuff in the seasons after 20 because it got stupid. And every character just became the creators, like Mary Sue's, and I got sick of it. But back in the day, it was very, very funny. So I'm like an aficionado, I guess. They never cancel episodes. They never cancel seasons. If the network steps in and says you can't draw Muhammad, which happened one time, they just put a thing over it that says I can't show this because Fox News was afraid of Muslims killing them. So that's how it's always been. So after this, I think famously in the last couple episodes, there was a whole thing making fun of Charlie Kirk. And so they literally ran out of time and they had to stop the season mid-season. This is season number 27. They have never done this before. 27 seasons from George H.W. Bush all the way up to our current presidency. Matt Stone and Trey Parker have never failed to deliver an episode every week. There was one famous incident where the power went out in their studio and they couldn't get an episode out on time. And then they just aired it the next day or something when the power came back. But besides that, they never miss an episode. So that's how bad, like, to put that into perspective, when it comes to the status quo as measured by the production of South Park episodes, Charlie Kirk getting shot has been more disruptive than 9/11. That's where my diatribe is going with this, is that as far as political discourse in the United States is concerned, Charlie Kirk's death has had a more profound impact on it than 9/11 did. So there you go. Very crazy. Similarly to this, Jimmy Kimmel has been booted off of ABC. Sinclair Networks, which had the deal with Jimmy Kimmel's studio, has decided to suspend their relationship with him. I believe that they have a statement here that clarifies that. No. Oh, wait, no, this is it. It's just out of order. Sinclair, the nation's largest ABC affiliate group, objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the assassination of Charlie Kirk. As discussed with the ABC earlier today, Sinclair decided to indefinitely preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live beginning tonight. Following these discussions, ABC has suspended production of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Mr. Kimmel's remarks, quote, were inappropriate and deeply insensitive at a critical moment for our country, said Vice Chairman Jason Smith. We believe broadcasters have a responsibility to educate and elevate respectful and constructive dialogue in our communities. We appreciate FCC Chairman Carr's remarks today, and this incident highlights the critical need for the FCC to take immediate regulatory action to address control held over local broadcasters by the big national networks. And in the stead of Jimmy Kimmel Live, they will be airing a memorial service for Charlie Kirk. I believe that they said, oh, here we go. Sinclair calls upon Kimmel to issue a direct apology to Kirk's family and to make a meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family and to Turning Point USA. So this is leading to speculation that Sinclair actually just wants to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel. They believe what they're saying is that his ratings are bad. Nobody watches his show. And his production is running as a negative. So they're just trying to get rid of him. And to do this, they're using Charlie Kirk's death as a masquerade to force him to do something he will never do, so that he will just terminate the contract on his end while giving them legal justification to say that they did not breach contract, he did. That's what the nihilistic, pessimistic take on this is. I don't know. Just like, yeah, nihilistic, I guess, is the word for this. Which I can believe. if you don't know what he said, what Kimmel's remarks were, is that, oh God, what was it? Oh, he tried to say that the shooter, Tyler Robinson, who we just discussed, was a fan of Nick Fuentes, and that this was right on right violence. So he was trying to promote a conspiracy theory that is provably, demonstrably, in every way, shape, and form, totally and utterly untrue, without limitation. And so, I mean, I feel that's justification for something like this, because you're having somebody who's talking to a bunch of people, and if people are going to have trust in your network, they can't be just completely full of shit, which in this case they are. So how can you possibly say that they're not justified in it? In this, they, by the way, mention FCC Brendan Carr. Brendan Carr is a current secretary. And, oh, is this out of order? Oh, here's the Brendan Carr remarks. So this is Brendan. I'll spare you the full of this. The summary is, the FCC chairman is threatening immediate action against Jimmy Kimmel, ABC, and Disney for deliberately misleading the public by claiming Charlie Kirk's assassin was a MAGA conservative. Chairman Brendan Carr calls Kimmel's malicious lies as truly sick and says they should result in Kimmel's immediate suspension and may lead to ABC losing its broadcast license. Which, by the way, in case you're wondering, there is precedent for. In the 1930s, President FDR suspended the broadcast of radio program Social Justice, hosted by Father Charles Coughlin, an anti-war, pro-Germany, anti-FDR advocate. So FDR, in his infinite wisdom, said that they were going to take away his privilege to broadcast. Father Coughlin was the first major news, like FM radio, not FM, in the 1930s, he was the first guy to do like the Bill O'Reilly thing or whatever on radio. The first like talk show pundit is what I'm trying to say. And they just yanked his license because he was saying things about not going to war with Germany that President FDR didn't like. So guess what? We do have precedent for yanking broadcast license whenever we feel like it. You can thank FDR for that if you're upset about it. Carr confirms the agency has a strong case. I would agree. The precedent exists to hold Kimmel, ABC, and Disney accountable for spreading dangerous, politically motivated misinformation. This is a very, very serious issue right now for Disney. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to take action on Kimmel, or there are going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with an obligation to operate in the public interest. There are calls for Kimmel to be fired. I think you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. Fox, like, doesn't Disney own Fox? So they could just yank Fox off the air whenever they want. The FCC could make a strong argument that this sort of intentional effort to mislead the American people about a very core fundamental fact, a very important matter. Disney needs to see some change here. But the individual licensed that are taking their content, it's time for them to step up and say, you know, garbage to the extent that's coming out down the pipe in the future isn't something we think serves the needs of our local communities. But this sort of status quo is obviously not acceptable where we are. So that is the head of the FCC saying, you know what, Fox, you know what, Disney, you know what, Sinclair, if you're going to broadcast lies, we can just stop you from doing that. We can just end your business overnight. As a matter of fact, we have the power and the precedent to accomplish this, which is why Sinclair was specifically mentioned Brendan Carr in their message. And then the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee has issued, I believe, subpoenas or just requested testimony from executive officer, or invited the chief executive officers of Discord, Steam, Twitch, and Reddit to testify at a full committee hearing on October 8th. The hearing will examine the radicalization of online forum users, including instances of open incitement to commit politically motivated acts. How our boy Gabe Newell of Steam ended up on the naughty boy list, I don't know. I'm sure he can handle himself the best. The rest of them are in shambles. It will take one informed congressman to utterly and totally humiliate all three of Twitch. Who's the guy from Twitch? It's that Dan Clancy guy, right? Oh boy. Dude, they need to get Dan Saltman to. He is Jewish. There's got to be some way for Dan Saltman to get the ear of a congressman that's going to be at this hearing, right? And tell him all the naughty boy stuff that Dan Clancy's been up to, and with the Twitch. He has to. There has to be a way. Dan Saltman and Gabe need to hook up and find a way to get the Congress to roast the Twitch. It is Clancy, right? Dan Clancy. Yeah, Dan Clancy, and then Dan Saltzman is Destiny's guy that really, really hates Hassan and Dan Clancy. So the Jews, man, they can kill Twitch right now. They can make a public spectacle of Twitch that's so great that you might see Amazon just cut them loose. Just make them an independent company. And without Amazon generously supplying all their infrastructure for free at the cost of the American taxpayer, because our government rents so much shit from Amazon that we basically subsidize the destruction of all brick and mortar businesses in the entire country, because Amazon doesn't have to make a profit off their online storefront because their Amazon cloud services make so much incomprehensible money from renting services to the American government that they can just over everybody all the time. Without that support from Amazon, they would basically be insolvent overnight. And they could accomplish that if they just bully Twitch hard enough in Congress. What's the other one? Reddit. Reddit's pretty bad. I'm not clued in. They need to get the R drama people to talk about Reddit. Get that Reddit lies guy from X. Put him in Congress. He could roast them. Discord, though, I am familiar with. I would love to hear Discord's response about why all of the most recent shooters are addicts that use Discord to groom kids and get molested. ABC was shot at by a gunman. This is actually incredible to me. I can't even believe this is a real thing, but there was an ABC station in Sacramento, so shithole California, where there is no violence because guns were banned. I've been told that gun control works, so here we have Sacramento, California. ABC station was shot at. Nobody was hurt, thankfully. But guess what? Brown man. Anibal Hernandez Santana. And what was he upset about? He was upset about Jimmy Kimmel going off the air. This brown man named Anibal Santana was so angry about the censorship of Jimmy Kimmel that he went to an ABC station and just shot through the windows in a fit of rage, and he was arrested. And you know what's really, really, really sad about this? Oh, let me get through this first, but here's some of his tweets. They found him. Just open a couple at random, right? And then I'll click pictures of cars, because I have to click a picture of a car to get access to the internet these days, because the internet's that feasible. Santana says the authoritarian oligarchy is now complete. CBS Plus caving, big law firms in D.C., the subservient FBI and AG, university presidents stepping down, fanboy SCOTUS, political radio, ICE goons. We are going to have to fight like hell. Rules don't apply if the election was stolen. Fight, he says. The race war has begun, and Trump started it. When you order the state security apparatus to profile brown people, arrest them and deport them, including residents and spouses with legal status who are protected by asylum or on their way to immigration appointments, that violence is illegal. And then my starting lineup of anti-Trump's heroes: LTC Vindman, Jen Mark Miley, Riley Hill, Rep. Liz Cheney, Rep. Adam Kinzinger, retired Judge Michael Ludig, Cass Hutchinson. So he's basically telling people this is who you should shoot, right? And then in the actual indictment we have down here in C, Hernandez Santana should be detained because there is no condition or combination of conditions that can reasonably assure the safety of the community and his appearance. In making a determination of whether a combination of conditions will reasonably assure the appearance of the defendant, the court must look at factors set forth. These include the natures and circumstance of the offense, the weight of the evidence, and the history of the defendant, and the nature and seriousness of the danger to the person. Santana poses a danger to the community. If released, he is charged with serious violent offenses in connection with shooting into the air in the direction of a television station while within a school zone and then driving around the block to shoot 3 times directly into the station's lobby, which was occupied at the time. This was not a brief ideation. Santana had evidently planned out his attack on a television station, as demonstrated by the fact that he wrote a weekly planner attached to his refrigerator, quote, "Do the next scary thing." What's more, the evidence suggests Santana wanted to commit future violent acts. The handwritten note found in Santana's vehicle, which states the following, that for hiding Epstein and ignoring red flags, do not support Patel, Bongino, and AG Pambondi. They're next. CK from above. Indicates that he may have been planning additional acts of violence. Law enforcement found 1 pistol during the searches of his home, which matched the caliber used during the shootings. And while that was the only firearm that law enforcement found, database checks revealed he purchased records for additional firearms under his name. Accordingly, there's the possibility that Santana has other guns, which are unknown to the FBI. So this is completely and totally a premeditated attack on a news station, which, by the way, is an additional felony to interrupt a broadcast by an act of terrorism, and then attempting to disrupt it because he was upset that Jimmy Kimmel was off the air for 3 days. Because immediately after this, Disney announced that after discussion with ABC and Jimmy Kimmel, they reached an understanding and Jimmy Kimmel will be going back on the air, which just goes to show you that terrorism works when you're on the left. A guy can shoot up a ABC station and they'll immediately just give him what he wants and show him that, yeah, violent intimidation is actually the way to go. We are going to give you everything that you asked for. Sinclair was not so impressed and said that Jimmy Kimmel will be preempted on their networks, regardless of whether ABC and Disney would like him to return. And the Next Star Media Group also said they will continue to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live, regardless of if Disney will continue to pay to produce more episodes of his show. So that's the update with Jimmy Kimmel. Nobody even heard about this Santana guy, I guess because nobody died. So it just kind of got swept under the rug. But yeah, they are literally upset that their TV show advocating for violence is taken down. So they start shooting at you. That's just their immediate go-to response these days. Kind of in the same fallout as that, in the game Ready or Not, which apparently is really popular with people who are into like super strategic, slow games that they can't be asked to play. A guy named Mikhail Kaminsky made a statement that Charlie Kirk is better off dead and that Ready or Not are happy that he's gone, which caused the actual production company of the game to freak the f out and immediately fire him. He was a community manager. I don't know what it is with community managers and being like the dumbest on the face of the planet, but he immediately got fired from his position. And then they released a statement condemning him, saying, "To Ready or Not community, we are aware of comments made by our community manager about a recent tragic event. These statements do not reflect our values or represent our company. We have ended our relationship with this individual and reminded our team of the responsibility we all share when communicating on public platforms. Our focus remains on fostering a respectful and professional community around Ready or Not. Sincerely, Void Interactive." So that's what happened with that. There was a statement made by Trump, and I want to play this because it's funny. Just want to see the video here.
And then he just will add on, Charlie loved it when I did this stuff over and over again.
Influencers and others in our society who greeted his assassination with sick approval, excuses, or even jubilation. You've heard that. So have I. Couldn't believe it.
He's coming
Some of the
after
very
influencers.
same people who spent the last 8 years trying to sit in moral judgment of anyone who disagreed with them about politics suddenly started cheering for a murder. Incredible. You know the names. They're major losers, by the way. That will be proven out in a short period of time. Some of the very people who call you a hater for using the wrong pronoun were filled with glee at the killing of a father with 2 beautiful young children. And the same commentators who this week are screaming fascism over a canceled late-night TV show where the anchor had no talent and no ratings. Last week, we're implying that Charlie Kirk deserved what happened to him. No side in American politics has a monopoly on disturbed or misguided people.
God.
But there's one part of our political community which believes they have a monopoly on truth, goodness, and virtue, and concludes they have also a monopoly on power, thought, and
I love
speech.
Donald Trump, Mr. President.
That's
I love
not
you so
happening
much.
anymore. We've turned that corner very quickly. Tragically, atrocities of this kind, and kind that we saw in Utah, of all places, are the eventual consequence of that kind of thinking. If speech is violence, then some are bound to conclude that violence is justified.
The guy that made this post was like, you can see his butthole tighten in real time as he is so scared. He's laughing at this. He's so desperate, so excited at the prospect that Trump might call him out and make him like the epicenter of the left. They just gotta like chuck him in Gitmo, like silently. They gotta leave people wondering what the happened to him for at least like a couple weeks before, like a statement is made that like, oh yeah, he's in Gitmo. We're investigating his ties to Antifa, a terrorist organization. We just gotta do that. Like until that happens, he's just over the moon that he's considered the bad guy. It makes him really excited. Like you can just see how happy he is. He thinks it's a big joke. He'll keep calling for people to be shot too, and then when they get shot, he'll laugh at them. He's a Muslim. I don't know. He's a Turkish Muslim. Muslims hate you. I don't know if you guys need that spelled out, but they think it's really funny when you get shot in the neck. I think it's hilarious, actually. And then this person I've never talked about before. They have a very small thread, but it was asked of me that I talk about this. Rebecca Jones was some. Actually, I have talked about this person. She worked in Florida for the Florida Department of Health, and during COVID, to spite Ron DeSantis, she released or compromised a bunch of state-related medical records in regards to COVID. And despite this, nothing really came about it, and she was fired instead of being charged with cyber terrorism or whatever. And then a bunch of media people proclaimed her to be like a saint, like a new whistleblower WikiLeaks type, despite the fact that nothing material came out of this. But she's still around. I believe she has a pretty big following. I want to say, I could be wrong. Let me check. I want to say that she has a big following. She's a white girl that's a liberal, so therefore the Coomers are going to follow her on Twitter, I bet. She's a based whitey girl, therefore we don't have to feel racially bad about following her. Branford. Where's her Twitter? I guess I just have to type it in. Geo Rebecca. Rebecca spelled retarded. Geo Rebecca. Oh, I have her blocked. I wonder what... 330,000 followers? That's crazy. Mesoscale News at the nexus of climate and people. Yeah, I definitely would have blocked her. 1,000 likes on that, but only 17 on this. Oh, because it's a Substack link. You don't get to share Substack links on X. That's the best way possible to get completely and totally blacklisted by Elon Musk. There's nothing that Elon Musk hates more than Substack. And what's funny is that Substack is like anti-censorship. Substack is pretty based, and they have a bunch of different people on across the aisle, all over the place, and they don't censor people as hard as certain platforms do. But that's threatening to Elon Musk. It hurts Elon Musk's big baby feelings when other people do the Twitter tang and people like it. Wow. So if you try to post a Substack link, it doesn't embed the OpenGL. You'll see that there's no box there. Apparently, I can't comment because it's limited. But on top of that, it's a Substack link. So 300,000 followers, but only gets as many likes on tweets as I do. That's pretty embarrassing. I ask you to join against racism and white supremacy on October 14th. No. MAGA brainworm is thinking that greasy Nosferatu. Lady, you cannot call a Jew a vampire. That is anti-Semitic. Who's this? Is this her? Who's this? I like faceblind. Oh my god, she looks dreadful. Okay. So this is what she's up to. Apparently this was a big zeet. Let's check it out. You ready? That's Angelina Jolie. Okay. I don't care. I have no interest in Angelina Jolie. Isn't she married to Brad Pitt? Didn't Brad Pitt jump on Oprah's couch and say that he loved her and they got married before L. Ron Hubbard or something? Something like that. No. No, that's Katie Holmes. That's Tom Cruise. Okay. Tom Cruise jumped on the couch and he loved Katie Holmes. Who did Angelina Jolie? Brad Pitt. Okay. I got you. Dude, I love everyone who's like, oh my god, Josh doesn't know about contemporary mid-2000s celebrities. That's so cringe. He's supposed to be like a podcaster. He's supposed to know about stuff. Why does he not know about Angelina Jolie? Okay. They got divorced. Okay, cool. Here's what it says. You ready? She says, fine, I'll say it. The podcaster who was killed in Utah was a creep. Goofy-ass looking grown man. Lady, listen here. You got the short hair with the bright red Big Mama hoe lipsticks. You're only missing the hoops. I don't want to hear this shit about goofy-ass looking. Goofy ass looking grown man who flunked out of college and could never let it go. He grifted off completely fabricated stories about oppression against conservatives. His entire he was shot in the neck. I think that he proved his point. His entire persona was a gimmick steeped in theocratic and white supremacy. He was a bigoted, racist, homophobic, sexist piece of shit. He participated in an insurrection against our country. He repeatedly called for the deaths of his perceived political enemies. He cheered on those who violently assaulted Americans. He should have been in jail. Instead, he got shot. And by every measure, his only accomplishment is being the first American assassination that the world watched on TikTok in 4K at 120 hertz. He wasn't a Rhodes Scholar shot in the face while seeing a movie in Colorado. He wasn't an elected official in Minnesota murdered for defending women's rights. He wasn't a first grader left bleeding to death in the company of a crazed gunman. He wasn't gunned down for flying a flag outside his clothing store. He was a bad person who said horrible things on his mid-tier little podcast. I have legitimate reasons to hate a lot of these conservative pundits. Many, like Ben Shapiro, have come after me by name. They've spent years vilifying me for trying to save lives during COVID. They fabricated stories, promoted propaganda, and incited more death and threats than I can count. And yet I don't say they should be given the death penalty or publicly executed. I don't believe they deserve that, except for Charlie Kirk. Oh, that's what she's getting to, that Charlie Kirk is especially evil, right? I would never say that children should watch DeSantis's public execution as a rite of passage. I would never say that Matt Gaetz, is she just like naming people she does actually want to die? And every pervert in Congress should be stoned to death. And there are so many conservative men in Congress that are into some kinky and even illegal shit. Saying good riddance isn't a celebration of his violent public death. It kind of is. I said it when Rush Limbaugh died. Does that mean I'm cheering on lung cancer? Yes. Kind of, yeah. I was elated when Scalia died of natural causes. Most of our country and the world will be in the streets actually celebrating when Trump dies, regardless of how he dies. Lady, how he dies will be very important to what's happening in the streets if and when Trump dies. That's what an absurdly stupid statement. Like if Trump were to get shot right now, there would just be mass happiness and love. There would be like a Woodstock festival in every city across the entire country. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's actually what would be occurring on the streets in every major city across the country. I don't think there'd be no Burning Man after that shit. There'd be men burning, but there'd be no Burning Man, if you know what I mean. Everyone dies. Yeah, dude. What's like even the difference between like stomping out like a fetus's life at like conception or getting shot in the neck for like political speech? Like we're all just like a paper bag, like a plastic bag, like floating in the wind. Life is just like an arbitrary. When it begins, it's like arbitrary. When it ends, it's like arbitrary. I'm like deep and shit. That doesn't make up for the life they spent harming others. When other people choose, when people who choose to spend their existence hurting people are gone, the world is a better place. Kirk was a vapid demagogue, unworthy of mass hysteria over his death, and everyone should be protesting this state-mandated day of mourning on October 14th. Fascinating, chat. Yeah, this is like delusion. People are like actually really, really upset over this, and the whole like, yeah, we're just gonna keep shooting people that we disagree with. It's not a good idea. Let me take off my glasses here and rub my eyes, because I have to figure out what I want to say to this, and I have been not entirely sure. So, can I get a waving hand emoji in chat if you watched Metokur's last stream? And then actually give me a waving hand emoji and then a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you liked it. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I'm seeing some waving hand. I see like one. I'm seeing some thumbs downs. Okay, I need to know how to respond to my own audience. I quit watching him, says Boss Man. I see lots of grimaces. Lots of grimaces. Okay, Anime Game 816 liked it. Never seen him? Really? It was depressing. 5 out of 10. Crybaby Gem. Okay. I want to be sensitive about this because here's the gist. Okay. Metokur, who is held in extremely high regard by a significant amount of crossover audience, has always been a sort of above it all nihilistic millennial, such as myself. I fall into this category. And he has always avoided taking things too seriously. And that started to end around COVID. He took COVID very seriously because of his health conditions, which included a compromised immune system. And since then, I suppose it would not be incorrect to say that he's just waiting to die based off what he said publicly. He made a final goodbye stream some years ago, which I never watched because it featured Pippa Pipkins, and I just couldn't bring myself to listen to Jim talk to Pippa Pipkins. But that was supposed to be the final stream. I want to say that was in 2022 at the end of the year. It could even be 2021. It was a while ago. And despite being the final stream, he's made several more because he's still alive. And supposedly the money that he makes from these streams is to go to his wife, Jade, who probably will survive him, right? So that's the whole point. End of 2022. Okay. So it's been a meme for a while now with A-Logs that his final stream was 3 years ago and he's still making streams. And not too frequently. Supposedly his health is really, really bad. He's in palliative care. And that might explain some of the content in the last stream where he says unironically and without exaggeration that Charlie Kirk's death helped him find Christ, which is a very unexpected statement coming from a above it all nihilistic millennial, to say the least. And it came out of nowhere because Jim hasn't really talked about religion ever. I want to say there was one thing that he said at some point about how religion makes a lot more sense to him now because the traditions attached to religion kept away undesirable things like because what became I agree with him on this perspective. What became facets of religious cultures were memes, like in a genetic mimetic sense, that there were certain ideas that were inductive to growth and health in a society that we passed along as religious ideas that preserved a surviving mimetic concept that kept out undesirable traits such as transsexuals. And hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of a mouthful to explain that idea. And but outside of that, there wasn't ever really any kind of come to Jesus moment with Metokur. He sounded kind of choked up, and supposedly in palliative care, there's a religious aspect to it, and to deal with chronic pain and potentially impending death, they try to have a religious, or not necessarily religious because they don't do that. It's not like a Jesus thing. It's more of a we're all stardust type thing, because these are usually quite secular. So a lot of people were torn on this. A lot of people were very happy. A lot of people were not. I had no strong reaction to it, which sounds weird. It's kind of like a dour stream, and it was like a huge change in character, but I don't know. I didn't have a particularly strong reaction, but I feel like if I didn't mention it, I would be remiss. A lot of people, I'll say this, a lot of people thought it was like super embarrassing. I didn't see it like that. And it's just in part because it's sort of like, it's when you're dying, why do you give a about what people think about what you say? You know what I mean? It's like the old people mentality. Like, I don't give a fuck about what you think. I'm dying. I'm 80. I don't give a shit. So I kind of understand just like doing whatever you want, saying whatever you want, and not giving a. I think the thing that caught more people off guard, even more so than the religious element to it, was he says that in the future we are entering a post-scarcity Star Trek style golden age utopia of the United States, and that he is remiss that he will not be able to see it, but is so thankful that he got to see the beginning of it. And he kind of like implied that Trump being president was the beginning of this. So that was a take that a lot of people took even more issue with than anything he said about religion or whatever before then. So I don't think we're quite at the Star Trek post-haste phase of society. We have to get rid of the Muslims first. Once we we got a couple million obstacles in the way of Captain Picard split finger greetings, okay? But we'll get there. I trust the plan. We're getting rid of them. So yeah, I don't know. I feel kind of bad. I don't really have anything to say. Anything I say would be either too mean or... Not that I have anything mean to say, but if I tried to develop my thoughts on some kind of extremely pointed statement, it would just be unnecessarily vindictive sounding or dismissive or whatever. But there you go. I understand it. I was tempted not to listen to it because there are streams that I miss, like the Pippa stream. I just said, nah. That's not for me. What actually got me to listen to it, I remember this now. Someone said that Jim converted to Christianity, found Christ, and denounced VTubers. I'm like, ho. Well. Let's check in on this stream after all. And then I listened through, and he lied. I should honestly ban that guy because I banned that. I listened to the entire stream waiting for him to say that he denounces VTubers, and it was a lie made at my expense. Literally baited that guy. I need to hunt him down like a dog now. Program is the Charlie Kirk killer Discord logs. Turkey Tom allegedly got this from a friend of both of them. If you don't remember, Charlie Kirk's... By the way, did you know that people who are super liberal don't even believe that Charlie Kirk was gay lovers with this troon? They were complaining about me, the liberals on the Kiwi farms were complaining about me in the Trump derangement thread. Like, yeah, all Noel does now is feature pro-Trump stuff. And he's trying to, and it's funny how they were all trying to push this conspiracy theory that the Charlie Kirk guy was a gay lover of Annie. But after that was debunked, they all stopped with it. It's like, no, that wasn't debunked at all. Everything that we found, literally the friends of these two were talking about how Tyler was pushing in his shit, like even when he was having psychotic breakdowns, which is what this the logs were covering. I'm not gonna play through it because it's like if you want to watch a 47-minute long video of Turkey Tom talking about gay people, you can. I listened to it for you. Basically, Tyler was like a closet. I guess you could call like a log house Republican. He was like a regular like country boy that like a Brokeback Mountain, I guess. Lance was like a gay, effeminate troon, like egg cracking troon, and apparently he would have like these episodes where he would start like hoarding in his living room and having mental breakdowns, and all of their friends were like really weirded out by how he behaved. But Tyler was still butting him that entire time, and the guy said that he saw used condoms on like the sink and stuff. There was a really lovely divergent tangent that Turkey Tom went on about how even though the Charlie Kirk shooter was definitely in the butt, the used condom that he got sent a picture of didn't have any cum in it. So Turkey Tom openly pontificated that perhaps Tyler was only butting him out of a sense of duty or obligation because he wasn't finishing in the condom. Well, thank you, Turkey Tom. That's really insightful commentary about the used condom in the picture. Thanks. I needed that. You know, it's only 8 a.m. and my day's ruined. Anyways. Tom would know.